black women separate. You should be married to a black man and living in a house, owning property, and storing and saving for the future and your children, not paying rent here, he's paying rent there, and keeping us consuming. Our dollar circulates 6 hours in our community. We paid at 5 o'clock, we broke by midnight. Most people dollar circulate in their community at least 12 days, 7 days on the minimum. And the problem is more than anything else is even the best of our women are not under any, I'm gonna say this. Do you really believe that the average black woman like yourself wants to be under the authority of a black man?
No.
Well, goddamn.
And the reason why I say that as if, because when you say high value men, I have to ask myself, because I was married before, I have to ask myself, what do I consider high value men? Does the world consider a high value man? And does that image match up? Like I said, right, that's what I'm at now. I'm in this stage of nature versus what's been conditioned to me and what's my actual nature. Right. So I look at that and say, well, what do I consider a high value man? So from your description of what a high value man, I don't see a lot of those men. And it could be what you say. I'm not it, so I'm in. So, you know,
well, they exist. They exist. It's just that honestly, high value men have barriers. They keep women that they don't find appealing away from them.
Right. And that's see what you're saying is this is not known to me. I was raised completely different.
But let's take it away from high value. Let's just take it this average women. Why the average black woman doesn't want to be under the authority of an average black man. And even if you are a high value black man, you still have to be a high value black man and a porn star to even get a woman to consider submitting. But you look at a guy who can come into this country illegally, stand out in front of Home Depot or collect cans and sell oranges, and he is getting femininity and submission and cooperation, and she's under his authority. Here's the question. Honestly, if you don't want to be under the authority of a black man, what man's authority do you think the average black woman wants to be under?
See, and maybe I didn't answer that. I do want to be under authority.
I didn't say you. I'm talking about the average black woman.
Right. That's what I'm saying. For me. So you're talking about for the average, because I personally do want to be, but the average black, I feel like that's because black women have just been like we've been so put into masculine energy where it's like you accept certain things that are even being heard or being saying anything negative to us. Like you say, hey, you know, you need to.
So the question is, what group of men's authority do you want to be under if it's not black men?
No man's. Then you would.
Well, right? And thank you. And that's what I believe is the truth. You don't want to be, the average black woman doesn't want to be under the authority of any man. It's my dog and Jesus. And that's why dying alone is their future. Because every other group of women realize that they need a man to get from one end of life successfully to another. But prior to 1965, we were married at a rate of 80%. Black women were under the authority of a black man. My grandmother out-earned my grandfather. But she stayed in her marriage because of something bigger than themselves. So what has been happening to the black community? Montana scissors. As black male unemployment went down, black female welfare went up. So it showed that black women, when given a chance, don't want to be with black men. Don't want to be with any man. You would even take a decreased standard of living. So now that you're educated, own money, whatever, the average black woman, like Iyanla Vanzant said, is out of order, out of control, under no one's discipline. You're not even under the church's discipline, but claiming to be Christian to the point to where, what is the average brother looking at? It's like, you heard that a couple of weeks ago where a sister didn't even want to smile at a black man.
I've seen that segment, yeah.
So do you have any brothers?
I have 5 brothers, yes.
And what is it looking like for them?
Well, my oldest one, he's married to a Hispanic. So I've definitely like I said, I'm just learning this stuff. I'm curious to know too. I've never been attitude type, all that. Like
you have 5 brothers. Are you the only girl?
No, I have 2 girls. My older sister, and then
me. Your mother and father married?
No. So I grew up in Austin. I didn't have like, you know, I'm coming
Well,
from-
I would say the main thing is, ma'am, you know, fitness is major for men.
Yeah.
Fitness and you
Definitely.
know, and you see what, you know, men want peace. Men want peace more than anything else, and peace is in short supply today. And I don't even think a lot of women recognize that they're so in their masculine. They honestly think that I'm just expressing myself. It's like, it's not peaceful. So I'm gonna get on to the next person. I appreciate it, man.
No problem. Thank you.
See, you notice how you can have a conversation that's different when the energy is different? But I gotta ask the women, it's like, what future is it that you're going to have? All right, if I don't know what I'm talking about, the black man over here, and where you are, okay, then who? What man, what group of men are you gonna get with? Who is it? And she said, I was like, what man do you want to submit to? Do any women outside of that sister feel like that's kind of a sad thing? That ain't no man worth submitting to? High value or not? And, you know, we got to have conversations to get this stuff out. All right, you're in the dark. We got to have these conversations. If it's just one at a time, we'll do it one at a time. All right, so here we go. And I don't mind if you disagree, even vehemently, but there has to be a way to disagree without being disagreeable. Are you an asset to a man? And the more a man has, the less his tolerance is going to be. And I'm starting to see women who are more, I don't even want to say some of this stuff. I would say this: stop listening to your women over 40. If they don't have a good attitude regarding men, take that into consideration. Take that into consideration. Because, okay, here we go. You know, and like I said, I am going to start having more men on the panel because I think it's going to be important for us to have panel discussions. Maybe I'll facilitate and moderate and put my input in because this is about us. Shout out to all the Henrys. This is about us. And one thing people may say about me, but what they never heard me say is I'm not trying to get a better outcome. And when you get men to the point to where they don't even want to consider marriage or relationships, when the average rank and file man is like, there's no value in that, ladies, that's a problem for y'all. That's a problem for y'all. That's a marketing problem for you guys. Because the average man can get from one end of his life to another, survive just fine. Men know how to survive. They'll eat bologna sandwiches and Funyuns and eat and drink or in grape drink and be just fine. But if the average woman has such a marketing problem to where she can't even get the average man to want to consider her because the downside is so significant to where it's better to not even try, that's on y'all. So to talk about, we need these high value men, if you can't get an average man, you can't fuck with a high value man. Shout out to all my average friends. See, that's one thing. I never look down on my average dudes or on my above average dudes. I never do that. Y'all know I cut for my blue collar dudes and my factory workers and all that because y'all don't understand that these men work hard and they deserve peace too. They deserve a woman who is friendly, fit, cooperative, submissive, good-natured, peace. That's not just for a dude with $1 million. All right, so I got a few more minutes. If you want to go live, got a question. You know, I was raised in a generation to believe the problems in relationships were men's fault. Men of my generation were told our fathers broke it, be better than your fathers, and we took on burdens that boys should not have to take on. Many of us grew up too fast and did the best we could, but we still failed in our relationships and marriages. And we still have to look back over the rubble and try to do something with the next generations and say, this is what we learned. And what we've learned is that, hey, men, you do not have to apologize for her mistakes. Love Jones, the lesson of Love Jones taught black men of my generation that even if she messes up, we got to apologize for her wrong. No, we have to do what our wrong. But y'all got to do something about what y'all are bringing to the table. And it looks as though with your attitude and your appearance that you don't want any man. All right. Well, understand something. You got your 1.6, $2.4 million you're going to need to live on between the years of 65 and 85. You got that? And if you ain't making $120,000 a year, where you gonna get that money from as a woman? If you as a woman aren't making $120,000, $125,000 or more in Dallas dollars, Atlanta dollars, Houston dollars by age 35, how do you plan on stacking away in the next 30 years, 1.6 to $2.4 million liquid that you're gonna need to live on? You're not gonna have it. Many of you don't realize your retirement plan is your ultimate retirement plan is the government gonna save me. It's gonna come from somewhere. Men recognize that that's not it. Oh, I'll retire and I'll travel. I don't know how long you expect to live. Hey, what's going on? I don't know how long you expect to live, but I'll tell you this. Whether it's 1.6, whether it's 2.4, whether it's $1 million, bottom line is this. If you make $50,000 a year as a woman, all right, but if you retire at 65 and you live to 85, $50,000 just to live in a $50,000 a year lifestyle, 50 for 20 years is $1 million, and you still have to factor in inflation. So you need 1.6 to have $1 million to live off of. Are you going to have your $1 million? Then who's going to do it? Who's going to pay for it? How you going to get from one end to the other? Is it supposed to just happen? God going to work it out? Jesus going to make a way? After they're done with us? See, let me just go ahead and drop some real now. You know what, black women, you know what they did to y'all? What they did to y'all in the 60s is that the liberal came up and said, join with us in our problem against our men. And you know what you can get? You can get, if you decide to join us in this struggle, you can have the right to separate from your man, work, and be independent. You gave up your man for a middle-class job. You gave up your legacy for a middle-class job. And that was the deal. You didn't get no more than that, a middle-class job. While the women who convinced you that had their husbands. So now they work you to death. How many black women right now are working in companies or organizations, giving them their best years? I've seen this my entire life. Black women not getting married, being workaholics, thinking they're going to get that gold ring, that brass ring as a prize. I'm going to put in my 10, my 20. And then when it's your age, it's your turn to get promoted, they bring somebody in from the outside or somebody younger. Then they put your ass out to pasture. And you can't go get a job making what you're making at company A at company B because you outpaced your skills. So maybe you're making 75 at company A and you realize on the open market all you worth is 40. And now you stuck because you're 50, 55. And there ain't no dating scene after 50 for women. It's over. For women, the dating scene is a wrap. Spencerville, no waiting. What you gonna do? And everybody else, every other group of women partnered with a man in their journey so at least they can have two incomes. To at least have a property, something. And now you're rushing and panicking. How I'm gonna make it work? And it's not as though men aren't available, but you have spent an entire lifetime being single, an individual. And now it's like, well, how you gonna work with somebody? That's the real burden, ladies. You were duped. Solo okie doke, fine. What are you doing to go back to men and say, damn, didn't know it, my bad. What are you offering to men? Or is it like that first woman? Well, we ain't got to do nothing because the men ain't out there. That's bullshit. The men are out there. The men are just over here. And you're going to have to cross all the way over there and hope you can find somebody who's willing to partner with you to get from one end of life to the next. Because if not, you know what the rest is going to be like? I don't want that for you. I don't want that for you because I don't want that for my brother. I don't want that for men. I want men to have women that are willing to work with them. I want men to have women who have risen to a level of self-awareness, to where they now are operating in good faith, with gratitude, humility, and empathy. That is a woman that a man can work with. A woman who's not coming in feeling entitled, feeling like she earned something, she deserves something. That is a woman who's saying, thank you, Jesus, that I got one more opportunity. Because I need to ask you ladies one question. Last question. If God himself sent an angel down on his shoulder and said, look here, Broomhilda, the next man that you get is the last man you get for your lifetime. That's it. You've exhausted your supply of men, whether you've had 1 or 100. That is it. You don't make it work with this dude, you get no more. I guarantee you'd be a lot more patient. I guarantee you'd find a way to make it work. And that's one of the problems. You ladies have been told the supply of men is infinite and unending. Got news for you. For one goddamn quarter, you get 3 lives. You don't have the cheat code or whatever that shit was you used to plug into the Nintendo to get unlimited lives and all the power-ups. You got 1 fucking quarter and 3 lives. You're on your 3rd damn life. You better play this game like it means it. You better figure that goddamn pattern out on Pac-Man. You better run through that goddamn maze and eat them dots and give, because 1 motherfucking life. You keep playing like you got them forever. So I end up talking to women who are in their 30s, late 30s, 40s, mid 40s, early 50s, talk about how do I get this done? You done had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 men, 1, 2 marriages. You out of lives. You don't know by 50? French toast you mean? You out of lives. So if you're in the danger zone, you may have 2 lives left. But if you in no man's land, you got 1 life left. If you ever played Mortal Kombat, the new Mortal Kombat movie just came out. If you ever played Mortal Kombat, you jump into the fight. You ready to do all your tricks and combos when your power meter's up, but then you get a couple of fucking big combos later on your pow. Then when your life meter is in the, from green, it's down to yellow, it's an orange, now it's red. All of a sudden your combinations start to, you ain't trying to throw them, you ain't trying to get them big techniques up. You throwing like back fists and little short kicks. You just trying to cheat your way out. Oh shit, let me just do the side kick. Let me sweep them. Let me just jab them. If you don't get to sweeping the goddamn jabbing, you got one life left. And you trying to get out of this mug. So the fatality is not you dying alone. You ain't got to like me. I ain't here for you to like me. I'm here to tell you some uncomfortable truths that somebody should have told us long time ago if they cared about us. If they cared about us, they would have told us that we needed each other. If they cared about us, they would have told us that we needed each other and we were not disposable, that we were not in the infinite supply, that we have to respect one another because that's all we got. That's all we got. Ain't nobody coming to save us. We all we got. One life, ladies. Your life is the one life you have. And if the next one you get is all you get, how you going to run it? How you going to work it? And if you start treating men like they're a finite supply, like they're not, unlimited, maybe, just maybe, you'll start getting a better outcome from the very men that you're dealing with. Peace.